There are so many people doing such extraordinary things around the world. We feel they are so far away. But sometimes these people might just be our next door neighbor, college mates, or our friends. Over the past week, I had the opportunity to talk to four such people. In today's episode, I have the chance to talk to Manasi and Lavanya, two students from the Vellore Institute of Technology and the founders of Hues of the Mind. So, guys, here we are again trying to record this episode for a second time because the first time it messed up big. Today, we're here to talk about mental health, and I know you guys know this, that, and everyone who's listening also, that due to some certain recent events, which are very sad, mental health has been gaining a lot of importance out of nowhere. And this stories are just flooded with it. And I think it's a good thing that a lot of people are at least starting to take it seriously. But you know, when you guys started off out with your page Hues of the Mind, I feel that was a time where mental health was something that was not as serious as it is now today. And when did you guys start realizing the importance of mental health?
Okay, so for me, it happened, I guess, right after 12th grade. So I was giving a lot of entrances, and I think all the pressure just summed up, and it resulted in a lot of anxiety. So that's when I realized what it actually felt like, and I felt that all of us need to be, really aware of what it is, and that's how we will deal with it. So that's when I realized the importance of taking care of our mental health.
Okay, so for me, I came across this one post that was sent by my friend on our group, and it talked about how we can have a community where we can share about how we're feeling mentally. And that's when I thought that it is actually important thing to be discussed about, but it's not very well known around. At least like I wasn't exposed to it until and unless I came across that post. And that's when I thought that it was important, and that led to the start of this page.
Okay, I think it's amazing that how, when you realize something, it's one thing. But when you go ahead and take that initiative to execute the idea itself is something amazing. And I must say, like, the community that you guys have created is so inspiring. Firstly, with all the stories that you guys are sharing of other people, letting other people share their stories itself is, for people to put their stories out is, it's empowering to see stories like that. Like, when I see those stories, I think, like, yes, someone has gone through this and I can relate to it. And this gives me the hope that I can also overcome the hardships that I'm facing. But one thing I never saw on your page, at least in my memory, was the stories of you both. So I just wanted to know if there is, any interesting story or any empowering stories of yourself that you guys would like to share.
I'm so glad that you said that out loud, because that's that is what I think our motive was behind creating this page, to make people feel less alone, I would say. And to be honest, I had published my story about 3, 4 months ago. So I talked about what inspired me to create this page, and it's got to do a lot with how when college started we were facing a lot of new situations, and they were basically like challenges, I would say, because I had never stayed out, stayed away from my home and from my family in this way. So all this led to something, and then I learned a lot from the first 2 semesters of my college, and during the summer break we started this page together.
For me, I don't know if I can tell this as a story or anything, but I um I really like how confident I've become after starting this page, because I remember when I was in school, I would be scared to even like get up from my chair and throw the trash in the trash can. But now I can like do it like confidently, because like that time I had this thing that, people are staring at me. I wouldn't be late for anything, because I feel like when I was late for something, I would like, people would like, I can feel those eyes on me, and it would just like give me all these weird sensations, and like it was just crazy. But like now, after like gaining like some confidence, after like coming to college and everything and learning new stuff, after like enlightening myself with like different things, facing new situations, I really like how confident I've become after like start after the start of this page, because obviously I know much more than I knew before, and I'm not the same person I was in school. So yeah.
Well, Lavanya, just like you said, if you're not sure if that could be a story, all I can say is if there is some growth that you have seen in yourself, that it definitely is a story that is worth sharing. Uh, but like we said in the beginning, that mental health has been gaining a lot of importance, and a lot of people are trying to put it out to the society. But one important aspect that I feel is, people should at least start doing things at their home. Because I personally know people who try to do things for the society, but they don't try to do the same things at home. So, as you guys are, doing something for the community, I'm 100% sure you guys have done something to bring that change into your home. So, if you could just, tell the people what you did, so maybe it could help them.
So basically, this is what my parents believe, and they've instilled this in me as well. Is you, if you want some change, you first bring the change in yourself, and then in the people around you, and then you can expand that later on. And they've started it on their own, and they've instilled it in me, and that's what I believe too. So I know for a fact that my parents are very open minded, and if there's anything that has to be talked about, we communicate healthily, and it's all done in there. Like, it. I like it. Like, I'm very proud of them for bringing me up like this. But I also understand that it might not be the same case in other households, because different people, you never know how people are, right? So if someone's facing someone's facing a situation like this, what I would what I think is most probable will be talking to your parents or like to your family members about what you think. Okay, and like then have a good communication between each other, and then realize what is there. It's hard to like change people's mindsets once they're like adults. Like after 25 years of age, I think it's difficult to change someone's mindsets. And when your parents, obviously your parents are older than you, and like you have to respect them and everything, but if you can, when you know that something's not right, you can try, just giving it a try wouldn't, give any like wouldn't be a problem to anyone, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's how they can bring about change within themselves. And like if they're already changing themselves, then I think that's how they can bring change in their how in their families, or like in their areas where like the people who are around them. Usually it can be friends or family. Like I'm not like focusing only on family, it can be friends
Hmm.
also. So it could be anyone who's around you. So I feel that's what they can do and create a healthy society.
I completely agree with Lavanya, and I'm so glad that Lavanya has such a nice way of communication with her parents. But I also feel that the stigma that we talk about, which is present in the society, it's present in our families as well, and that's what we should try to break first. That will happen when you communicate, and when you talk about what you're feeling, when you ask them how they are, and what we generally share on the internet, we should try to practice that in our homes as well. For example, if you're trying out meditation, maybe ask your parents to try it out too. Or in conversations, if you notice little things which you feel like a little insensitive. When you're judging somebody by their marks or comparing somebody in unintentionally, then you should point those out because little things add up to big things. And I think all these little changes and effective communication can go a very long way.
I mean, I totally agree with what both of you said about, bringing the change in ourselves and then in the society and, I mean, sorry, the people around us and then in our society. And it's also something that I've been trying to do. Like, for example, I talk about a lot of things in my podcast, and it's something that I believe that I'm speaking, and I only release those episodes, when I know that my parents are, they also agree with what I'm saying. Because if I'm putting something out there and my parents don't agree with it, I do not see a point in putting it out there. But I do not remember who, but one of you shared about the points about, people around us also, like the friends, bringing the change with our friends. And I think with parents, it's one struggle, but with friends, sometimes it can be a completely entire different struggle, like for example, you try to have a conversation with your friend about this and they're like, it's not serious, people just think it's in their head. Sometimes they do it just for attention seeking and they just dismiss the conversation entirely. And a lot of people, they are friends with someone but they kind of struggle to talk about these things with their friends. And I know both of you personally as well, and I know you guys have conversations like these with a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure you could at least resonate with what I just said right now. So if you guys have, any tips for us, the people, which we can use to, at least try and start having productive conversations about these topics with our friends.
So what I feel, yeah, I completely agree that talking about stuff like this with your parents is one kind of struggle, and with your friends, it's a whole new thing. But we also need to respect what their views are, right? Like if they don't want to discuss about it but they know the importance of it, that's enough, right? Like discussion is not always necessary. The important thing is that you know about it, you're aware about it, and that's enough. If like they don't want to discuss about it, I don't think we should force them into the discussion and ask them why they don't want to discuss, because we need to respect on how they are feeling too. And unless and until they're aware of it, it's perfectly fine. Like you don't have to ask them or like just push them just for like the sake of having a discussion. I find that completely unnecessary. And also, if they might not find it that important to discuss about this, because maybe they're already in a good place. Like maybe they haven't gone through a lot. Maybe they take things lightly, and that's another like very helpful mindset, because it helps you to see life in a very easygoing way. But that's how they deal with it, and if that's how they deal with it, we don't have a say in it, because we cannot force them on how they see, right? Like we cannot force them to like see the way they see life in like a particular way, because that's completely wrong. It's their wish. We cannot push them or like force them to do something. So I feel like if they're self aware, that is enough, and you don't have
Hmm.
to like force them into having a conversation about stuff like this. So yeah.
Okay, so I agree with Lavanya on that, but I also believe that friendship, basically, the basis of friendship is trust, right? We become friends with people because we trust them and we know that they won't judge us. Like, they will tell us when we go wrong, but they should be our safe space. So, I think the one thing that we can expect from our friends is that they won't judge us for things like this. First of all, it's difficult for people to reach out in the first place. And when they are, and when they receive this kind of, comments from people, this kind of judgment, it really hurts them a lot. So it has to be with the company that you're in, I believe. You need to see, the kind of energy that you're getting out of people. Are some people constantly trying to bring you down? Then you don't need to invest your energy in them, like not even with the things they say, like the little actions they do when they say that they'll be there for you, but you hear, you experience them not being there. So as people, I think all of us, it's a process. We can't just change in a day, but we need to be kinder to everybody around us and with ourselves also. Like, sometimes when people want to talk to us and we are not in a good space, it's okay for us to tell them that, I don't have the emotional capacity to talk about this right now, but I hope you take care and I hope you talk to somebody. So I think everybody, in the way they act professionally and personally, can be a little more polite, a little kinder, and definitely more empathetic. That'll make a huge difference.
I actually like I understand like the way I used to look at it, and now after just listening to you guys, I realized I maybe have to think about shifting my perspective, because sometimes when I talk about things like this, I get a bit too passionate and I try to force it on people. Like, you have to talk about this, but then I realize now it's completely wrong, and I would just like to thank you guys for opening my eyes to that. Uh, Lastly, just one thing that I always wanted to ask you both is, why did you guys choose the name Hues of the Mind?
What my perception is on this name is that, you know, um, everyone's minds work differently. Like, we're all different in our own ways, and we're all unique in our own ways. We might have common interests, but at the end of that, if you see everything, if you see the bigger picture, all of us are unique. And just like how different shades, different hues of colors are unique in their own ways, it's that's how I reflect the name on, like, people I'm surrounded with, how we're all unique. And that's how I see the page's name, like that.
Okay, that's a really good question, Rahul. And what I feel is that use of the mind means all the different colors of our minds, literally. I mean, we go through a wave of emotions. We're happy sometimes, sad, anxious, stressed, angry. And I think all emotions represent different colors. So we are here to talk about all the emotions that we go through and not just one thing. We're just not going to talk about happy things or maybe just sad things, because life is just, you know, all the colors in one. So that's what it means to me.
I can definitely see how you guys were very creative in coming up with the page's name. And uh it's when you start, I'm sure like when you guys started out with this, you guys might not have had any experience with this, like managing an Instagram page, or not only about the content you post, you guys organize a lot of webinars as well for the people. Oh, and it's been over a year since you guys started this venture of yours. I just wanted to know, over the period since you started the page, what are the learnings that you've had? Not only with respect to managing the page, but about anything else that you learned about, related to mental health and everything.
I would definitely say that I've learned a lot, and it's a lot from Lavanya and all the members of our team. Everybody has brought in something new to basically offer or teach. So basically, I learned something called active listening from Lavanya, and she talks about how we never knew what active listeners meant, but she made us understand what it is, and we tried to introduce that to our page. Then the importance of a personal touch. How when we talk to people directly, that makes a huge difference than just randomly putting something out there for awareness. Then also so many different qualities like managing things. That is everything that I learned. They'll be really helpful for me in life itself. It's like very valuable experience. And then all the amazing speakers and all the professionals that we've had for our events, they've brought in such new and beautiful perspectives to everything. Like I can't even talk about it in this. Like we've learned so much from all the people that we've worked with, and also from the page itself.
I agree with Mansi. Like we did like learn a lot. Like when we started off with the page, I wasn't aware of so many things, and now eventually I realized that there are so many different kinds of mental illnesses that people face every day, and we're not aware of it because we're not exposed to that kind of people, or maybe people just don't talk about it because of social stigmas. And that's what I want to change also, like how they can freely talk about it, what is wrong in it. It's not that they're broken, it's just that something is there about it, that's it. That's what makes people unique. And also like the people that we worked at, yes, I cannot express on how many new things I've learned from them, and how different ways of like coping with how I feel personally. I like how I've grown as a person, while creating awareness for everyone, I was also making myself aware of so many new things. And that's what I like the most about this. I kept on learning from like different things, different posts, different people. I just kept learning, and that's what makes me really happy about this page.
I think it's amazing that, people, especially, in the university level, are trying to spread awareness about mental health to the people around them. Personally speaking, I learned so much about it just from you guys, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience can agree. Just want to say, keep carrying out with the amazing work that you're doing. Never let that fire die inside you, and have a wonderful journey of growing. Thank you for tuning in to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we enjoyed having it, and we hope you felt that you were a part of it as well. Catch us now on 5th July as I have another very exciting conversation with, well, you just have to wait to find out.